February's Inside Out.
Inside Out is presented by HTC, here to connect. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food, where Mama eats.
Hi friends, welcome to February's Inside Out. Well, in case you missed our January program, you might have missed that we're ending the show in March. Now, I'm not fully retiring. You'll still see me pop up on some crazy commercials. You'll also see me doing some pieces for HTC on social media, but we are ending our show in March. And yes, I'm sad because I've loved it, but I want you to know we're having fun right now. January, February, and March all feature excerpts from over the past 12 years. And I want you to see this particular piece in case you missed it. We call it Man on the Street. Now, that's the name in the broadcasting business, but we all know that there's women on the street too, so it sounds very sexist. But the fact is, I've got the microphone and I stick it in front of someone and I ask a crazy question. Now, the question for this particular interview was, what is the official beverage of South Carolina? Now, perhaps you didn't know we even had one, but obviously most of these folks didn't either. Hi, I got a question for you. What's the state drink for South Carolina?
I don't know. I don't care. But I'll be 80 years old in September and I've never touched a drop of alcohol.
Well, believe it or not, the state drink of South Carolina has nothing to do with alcohol. Aren't you proud of the state of South Carolina?
Well, in some ways, yes. Some ways, no.
Water.
Water?
Yeah, Budweiser.
I would say iced tea.
Guess it's Coca-Cola.
Margaritas.
I don't know, but I like margaritas. Is there a state drink?
I didn't know we had one, but I would guess sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea. Sweet tea.
Guess again.
You gotta be kidding. It's not sweet tea.
Is it an alcoholic beverage? No? What is it?
The state drink, as far as I'm concerned, is Miller Lite.
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Non-alcoholic.
Orange juice or apple juice?
Do you know what the state drink is?
I don't drink.
Well, you must drink something, though.
Water or soda pop.
So what would you think would the state drink be?
I don't know.
You want to guess?
Coke?
Would you believe milk?
Oh yeah, milk is good for everybody.
Isn't it milk?
Well, that's a very good answer. How did you know that?
I was educated in South Carolina.
From the cotton fields to a sweet potato farm, next, some of my favorite rural segments.
From Murrells Inlet to Marion. From the golf courses to the area's gorgeous beaches. HTC is here to connect you with the largest fiber optic network in the area. We are here to help our communities, here to help you benefit as a member of our local cooperative, and here to empower the moments that are important in your life. We're HTC, and we're here to connect you to your world.
It all happens right here on the stage of the beautiful new First Presbyterian Church in Myrtle Beach.
Presenting the Seraph Brass, this year's winner of the American Prize in Chamber Music, Olga Kern, recognized as one of the world's greatest pianists, and the rich bass baritone voice of Joseph Parrish, followed by Geneva Lewis, Grand Prize winner of the New York Concert Artists Guild.
Season tickets starting at $75, now available at First Presbyterian Church of Myrtle Beach.
Diane, you have been the face and the voice, but more importantly, the heart and the soul of the greater Grand Strand community for as long as most of us can remember. You have entertained us, educated us, and charmed us along the way in countless ways, from the Jazz Festival in Pawleys Island to the TOR stage in Conway. You have given so unselfishly of your time and talents. Now, it's time for you. This adoring fan just can't wait to see what you're going to do with the next chapter of your life. Godspeed, my dear.
Hey, Diane.
Welcome to the theater, the Main Street Theater, the home of the Theater Republic, which you helped build and make it is today. I want to say thank you for all the many years you have done and supported all the arts at Horry County, and you have been a great supporter to the Theater Republic and have been on stage with us, and I actually want to thank you for helping me become who I am in this community. We wish you the best of luck. As I was thinking, it might be time to do Guys and Dolls too. Nah, probably not so. But anyway, have a good time, enjoy your retirement, and we miss you, and we'll see you back on the stage soon. But love, much love. Bye-bye.
This segment of Inside Out is brought to you by Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food, where Mama eats.
Now, one of my very favorite segments of Inside Out has been our farm segments, because in my previous career, with all the other stations and all the other shows that I've done around town, I never had a chance to go out to the farms. Now, it was hard in the beginning to convince farmers to do interviews. Of course, they would tell me, Diane, we're too busy for this. They'd also say, oh, this isn't our thing. But luckily, I convinced a lot of wonderful farmers to share with us their story about their crops. I'm going to take you right now to Aner in 2012 when I interviewed Jeff Fry. First of all, it was so hot that day. It was midday, August, oh my goodness, and of course I had on summer clothes and sandals. But when I arrived, Jeff Fry said, you can't wear those Myrtle Beach shoes over here in Aner. You gotta wear boots because we have snakes. It's 110 degrees on the Fry farm in Aner, and Jeff Fry says to me, Diane, you can't go trompsing through my farm in your summer sandals. You need some snake boots. So here goes. They're Jeff's. They don't fit, but I think they'll work. So Jeff, how long have you been in farming?
Well, I started farming, I guess, when my Uncle Doc tied me to the battery on the 135 Massey Ferguson. And that was about 2.5. And
you've been in it ever since? Is this a family
since.
farm?
No, well, actually, my dad bought this farm. And I've had it and I paid for it twice.
Hey Jeff, let's talk about this corn, because it doesn't look like the typical South Carolina corn.
Well, this corn actually is corn that I talked with a guy in Texas about, and he said it would grow in the drought-resistant, most hottest areas there was. So I said, well, hey, give me some seed and I'll try it on the East Coast.
Now, Jeff's interview was about plasticulture, which was something fairly new at the time, and Clemson had even given him a grant to use this method to grow corn. And so I asked Jeff later on, how did it go? After the crop came up, what happened? And he told me on the phone that it was a sad day because the pigs and the hogs that he had out in the back got out of their pen and ate the entire crop. Sorry, Jeff. I guess that kind of stuff happens every now and then. Now, it's always wonderful when a farmer calls you after the interview and says, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we had several of them. But one of the most grateful people was Warren Dixon. We went out to his sweet potato farm and he had the best season he ever had. He said people came from all over Horry and Georgetown counties to buy his sweet potatoes. And thank goodness they keep coming back. It's always great to hear from someone who is grateful for the interview. Best of all, we came home with some great sweet potato pies. Thank you, Dixon family. And now I want to just show you a little excerpt from On, the crab cake lady in Murrells Inlet. Okay, so it wasn't a farm, but it certainly was a commodity that they sell all around the world. That's right, crab cakes right out of Murrells Inlet, sent clear across the world. Here's On. What do you think is one of the best secrets to your crab cakes?
Well, I don't know. I told everybody, let's get my hand. My hand is secret.
Magic fingers.
Right.
Maybe it's the blue gloves. Now,
Right.
On, tell me your best fish story. Let's just say that you were out crabbing one day. What's the biggest catch you've had?
Well, the crab, around October, I can get about 5 crab trap. I can get about 2-3 bushel.
Wow.
I can get a few right after also almost I couldn't bring them up, They get fill up.
So fall?
Yeah, in the fall. But after that, I can make the crab, I pick every day about 15 to 22 pounds a day, 7 days a week.
You have the most beautiful complexion of any woman I have ever met. So
Thank
smooth,
you.
no wrinkles on. What is your secret? Is it the seasoning and the crab cakes that gives your complexion this beautiful glow?
Well, I don't know. The God gift to me.
It's God's gift. And I got to tell you, An, you are God's gift to Merle's Inlet. Everybody loves An. This is An Mathis Springs, and she is the crab cake lady, of course. Well, here's a farmer who did something very interesting that had never been done on camera with me before. I was interviewing Ronald Rabin, who grows cotton here in Horry County, and what an amazing farm he has. But he's had a lot of trouble, of course, losing cotton due to weather, and he agreed to do an interview with me. Well, when I went out and started the interview, Ronald was chewing on a toothpick, which a lot of people do, and a lot of farmers do, I'm sure, and he was chewing on this toothpick, but he was doing such a good interview, I hated to stop him, but I knew he probably wouldn't want to be chewing on a toothpick on television. So I stopped and I said, Ronald, let's start this interview once again. Do you realize you're chewing on a toothpick? And he said, oh, no, I'm so used to doing it, I didn't even know. And he took the toothpick and he stuck it in his pocket. Well, a few minutes later, we started the interview once again, and he did a great interview. But you should know that in the middle of the interview, Ronald, I guess out of nervousness, pulled out the toothpick and started chewing on it. Well, I didn't call attention to it. We just aired it like it was. Well, when the show finally aired, Ronald calls me and says, Diane, you ran the wrong segment. You ran the one where I was chewing on the toothpick. I said, Ronald, on the second interview, you pulled out the toothpick too. And he said, well, my wife says I look crazy and all her friends are teasing me. And he said, I'm never going to live this down. Well, Ronald, I hope you'll forgive me for running this part once again, but it was priceless. Coming up, heartwarming interviews, talented guests, and outstanding collectors. Mama loves magnolias, and you will too. It's where the Anderson family farm comes to the table. There's an all-you-can-eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, Saturday and Sunday brunch buffet, salad bar, homemade desserts, all served by our staff. Mama's right. You can't cook it this cheap. Ooh. And that ice cream machine guaranteed to produce smiles. Banquet space available too. Magnolias for good old Southern comfort food and hospitality at its finest. 26th Avenue North and Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach.
Over the years, I've been interviewed many times by Diane, and I've often wondered what makes me want to tell her anything. And I immediately realized it's because she brings out the best in everyone. She immediately disarms you with her beauty, then she draws you in with her huge heart. Diane, thank you so much for being such a loyal friend, a community servant, and someone we always can depend upon. We love you.
Hi, Diane. A little bird had told me that you are going to officially retire, which I don't even believe. That's not going to happen because every time I see you're doing something, working, ministering to somebody, helping them, and it's a pamper day. And I was thinking, how does Diane Devon Stokes, how does she look so good for so long? And I'm just thinking that this is part of the process for people on television. And you've always made people feel so special, like they're the only ones in the room. And you always look so good on television. I thought, if it's good enough for Diane Devon Stokes, it's got to be good enough for Greg Rolls. So anyway, I wish you a happy retirement. I know that we're going to see each other quite often. And I just wanted to tell you on behalf of Brandy how much we love you and we appreciate you. God bless you. Cheers.
Over my 51 years of television, there have been so many people who have touched my heart. One is Billy Bratcher. Billy is no longer alive, but he was a wonderful guy who grew up as a child who was blind, and he learned how to cane chairs at the South Carolina School for the Blind. And that's what he did here in Horry County his entire career. Everyone loved Billy Bratcher. And when I interviewed him, he was so precious. And he told me that he had the perfect marriage because he was blind and his wife, Kay, was deaf. And he said, and because of that, we never fight. I can't see her and she can't hear me, and it's a perfect marriage. Billy, what do you miss most about not having your sight? Because I know those of us who see take this for granted.
Well, I miss a lot of things, not see nothing. I miss a lot of things. I can't see what my wife looks like now.
Another person that certainly touched my heart was Mary Hill from Loris. Mary Hill's daughter was in a car accident, and Mary Hill was in the emergency room. Her daughter was on life support. She was told that her daughter was brain dead. And while she was grieving in the emergency room, there was another woman grieving because her son was dying. He needed a liver. Well, I know you know the rest of the story. This truly made me cry. But Mary, once she had her daughter come off of life support, donated her daughter's liver to that young boy. It's a beautiful story of love.
But then I got a letter from his mother, and when I opened the card, it said, "Thank you," and my heart just fell. And I knew that that little boy was living because of Kendra.
And another part of that story is that each and every year, Mary Hill is invited to the family reunion of that family that she donated the kidney to. She is truly part of their family and part of their hearts. Another person who touched my heart was Carl Marsloff. He lives in Surfside. And you know what he did in retirement? He refurbished fire trucks. Fire trucks that would take firemen to their resting places.
It's a standard practice in the fire industry that when a firefighter dies, whether it be of natural causes or in the line of duty, they take them the last ride on a fire truck.
How incredibly thoughtful, Carl. This is going to be great. You know you're going to stay busy.
Another person you need to meet, in case you missed it the first time, is Luke Sharp from North Myrtle Beach. He is a teacher with Horry County Schools, and so you know he's a busy guy. But what does he do in his spare time? He takes children with disabilities out and takes them surfing. It's the Adaptive Surf Project. He was recently recognized with a national award, and what did he say? He's not going to stop until there's a beach wheelchair on every beach up and down the East Coast. Way to go, Luke. And of course, there were so many, 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 many more people who touched my heart. We just don't have time to feature them all. And that's the same for the talented people in our community. Horry, Georgetown, Marion counties, we've got the most talented people anywhere. And one is Dorothea Taylor. She is known nationally as the godmother of drumming.
How are your ears?
We certainly had fun visiting with Dorothea at her home in Forest Brook. Another person who absolutely amazes me with his talent, and I'm sure you'll agree, is artist Tommy Simpson. His murals appear all over our community. I don't know how he does it, but he is simply amazing.
What's it like when people stop and want to talk to you, though? I mean, I know that you want to engage them, but you're working.
It's fun. People love to talk. People love to watch. And I was thinking earlier that when people stop and want to talk, I love to talk. Everybody knows if they know me, I'd love to talk way too much. But I can't work and talk at the same time. So people, they say, well, well, keep working. We want to see your work. I go, well, I can't work and talk at the same time, so it's got to be one or the other. So we bounce back and forth. But it's fun to have people watch.
Another person I wanted to just feature, speaking of talent, is someone who's called Myrtle Beach historian, even though he's really not a historian, but he has certainly documented our community since he came here as a teenager. And that is photographer Jack Thompson. What do you think is your most popular photograph?
Well, I was here when the wonderful, iconic Ocean Forest Hotel was in its heyday. I love that hotel. I still dream about how wonderful it was. And the day that they imploded that hotel, I was on a sand dune crying to think that somebody would light a stick of dynamite and take that hotel down. I thought surely the president or the governor or someone was going to roll up and say, hold it, you're not tearing this building down. That did not happen. The wonderful hotel came crashing down, and I think that shot of the hotel crumbling down is probably one of my favorite and one of my most important photographs. Some photographs like that are moments in time, and you're either there, you either have your finger on the trigger, or you miss it. And I'm extremely proud that I was there to capture that.
What an incredible collection of photos he has, and I hope that he preserves them properly so we'll have them for years to come. Thank you, Jack, for your outstanding talent. And it's amazing the things that people collect. We have had hundreds of collectors, but I picked just a few that were simply amazing. Papa Hanser, who's no longer with us, he and his wife owned Hanser House in Litchfield. And if you'll go in there, you'll see Mrs. Hanser roaming around, and she'll take you and even show you Papa Hanser's collection. We went into what looked like a garage, and everywhere you looked, you couldn't see wall space. All you could see were shelves. A great collection. And then we went out to rural Conway one day to meet up with Martha Ann Johnson, who has over 70 nativities in her home and sponsors an event at the Maple Baptist Church of Conway each Christmas season featuring over 200 nativities. And let's take a look at Gary Neverick's place. He lives in Conway, and he has a lovely home, but I mean, it's not gigantic or anything. And there in his front yard and his backyard are over 200 rose bushes. I'm telling you, it was amazing. He collects roses, and what does he do with them? He delivers them to people who are shut-ins. He delivers them to his Catholic Church. And most importantly, he enjoys them all throughout the inside of his home as well. This was the best smelling interview we ever did on Inside Out. But the greatest collector of all was recently featured in 2023, Fossil Bob from rural Conway. Oh my goodness, I could barely breathe because I knew I couldn't get all of this in a 5-minute interview. His home was covered in fossils, shells, all sorts of things that he's collected from the Intracoastal Waterway over the years. Fossil Bob, we salute you. You are certainly our best collector of all. Animals that gave me a thrill and hopefully gave you a laugh. Coming up next.
From Murrells Inlet to Marion, from the golf courses to the area's gorgeous beaches, HTC is here to connect you with the largest fiber optic network in the area. We are here to help our communities, here to help you benefit as a member of our local cooperative, and here to empower the moments that are important in your life. We're HTC, and we're here to connect you to your world.
Diane, congratulations, my sister, on your retirement. I think I'm still finding it hard to believe, but if it's here, congratulations. I just want to personally thank you, and I'm so blessed and honored that I get to be a part of this. But I want to thank you for the work that you have done throughout this city to bring awareness to situations and people. You brought them to the forefront, things that nobody knew about. And you have been, you and Chuck together have built this dynamic duo, this team in communications, and I'm so grateful. But personally, on behalf of my family, on behalf of the Canty family, I want to thank you, Diane, for the love, the compassion, the understanding that you showed and demonstrated towards our mother. Thank you for creating safe places and safe spaces for her where she could tell her story and tell their story. The historic Myrtle Beach Color School Museum and Education Center Committee and those former students of the Myrtle Beach Color School. She loved you and Chuck, and I know you guys loved her. It was most obvious. And I can't thank you enough for making her latter days some of her better days. So again, on behalf of myself, the Canty family, the historic Myrtle Beach Color School Museum and Education Center Committee, and Neighborhood Services, thank you, my sister. Thank you for everything that you have done to make Myrtle Beach a brighter place, to sharing stories. Thank you. God bless and Godspeed. We love you.
Well, as most of you know, I love animals. And when I arrived at Indigo Farms to do an interview with Sally, they're yelling at me, hurry up, get out of the car, come on over, there's a baby goat being born. And I was able to watch the process. It was truly beautiful. And before we left, I got to milk a goat. Thank you, Indigo Farms. And talk about making a grand entrance. Well, I got to enter this interview on a camel. And in my entire career and all the shows I've done over the years, I'd never ridden a camel before. It was fun. 5-star farms in Longs. They take these animals out to birthday parties, to malls, to shows, and they're an amazing group of folks who also love animals. But one of the most fun interviews I had with animals was with Bubba Love from Merle's Inlet. Well, y'all know Bubba. He, of course, handles all the goats down a goat island right in front of Drunken Jack's restaurant. Well, I was invited to help him round up the goats, put them on a truck where they haul them to Conway for the winter, where they take care of them and give them plenty to eat. And then, of course, they come back to Goat Island in the springtime. Boy, oh boy, it was challenging, especially handling the pregnant goats. Thank you, Bubba Love.
I hope I can handle this. Well, Bubba, I am ready to go. Bubba Love, we're on our way to catch some goats.
Bah!
Lots of volunteers have been invited to help us. This is really cool. But for some reason, I keep thinking about the song from The Sound of Music. High on the hill was a lonely goat herd. Oh, let's see if it works.
Come on, baby girl. Oh my gosh, she's heavy.
Next month, we'll have another great review party. And I hate to say, but it will be our last month. That makes me very sad to even say it. But I want you to know how much I love this show, how much I love HTC, and how much I love all of you. Join me next month for another edition of Inside Out.
Inside Out is presented by HTC, here to connect. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food, where Mama eats.